Let's compare the new iPhone 16e with the relatively still new Galaxy S25. We have a budget priced iPhone 16 versus the flagship Galaxy S25 pricing. So the 16e pricing is $600 unlocked. The S25 unlocked is $800, but you can pick one up already. Is not that much longer after launch. The S25 is already down to $500 on the third-party market. So comparatively speaking, the S25 is actually cheaper than the 16e. It's very, very cheap. So, but from a new price, we got 600 versus 800, but the pricing could be very different. I've seen the 16e on prepaid as well here in the US for Boost Mobile, for example. You can get it for $300. So pricing, try to get these devices really cheap, either of these. But I'm going to be comparing the 16e at $600 versus the S25 at $800, but you can find them very easily for $500 on the used market in great condition. So let's go ahead and compare these two. Now, these are both very similar in size and very similar in weight. They're both very, very compact devices for the most part. They're not gigantic like the Pro Max models of iPhones or Plus models for the Galaxies, and they're very lightweight. Build quality is the same on both: glass front, glass back, aluminum frame. The 16e is eSIM only in the US. The Galaxy is nano SIM and eSIM, so advantage on the S25 in the SIM card front. Now for the displays, very different here. A 16e has a basic slow 60 Hz refresh rate. The Samsung has, on the other hand, a very nice 120 Hz refresh rate, and it has an always-on display, which the 16e lacks. So on this display front, you got a very, very good advantage of the S25, and not to mention the 16e is using an older notch at the top, which is very distracting compared to the small little dot for the camera on the S25. So the front of the device, the S25 display is very, very nice, huge advantage over the 16e. Now, you have smaller bezels too on the S25, and it has that always-on display. So the S25 has a huge advantage from the front of the device. As for the software, both of these will get several years of updates. They run the newest version of their operating system, and it will get 7 years of updates. So these are future-proof devices. As for the chipset, A18 on the iPhone, Snapdragon 8 Elite on the S25. They're both powerful new processors, and any app you download will work perfectly fine, run multiple apps in the background, no problem. These are top tier processing power on both of these devices. When we come to storage, both of these start off at 128 gigs. You have 8 gigs of RAM, which is a lot for an iPhone. On the iPhone 16e, 12 gigs of RAM on the S25. That's a good amount of RAM for Android. Those are flagship levels of RAM for each respective phone maker. And just to put in perspective, the 16e, 8 gigs of RAM is the same amount of RAM, same chipset as well, found on the more expensive 16 and 16 Pro. And the S25, 12 gigs of RAM, same story here. Basically, the good chipset, good amount of RAM, and they have the same base storage. So it's safe to say both of these are very, very powerful on the inside. Now, if you were to flip these devices on the back, now we see another big difference. The 16e has a single camera on the back. It looks very pitiful compared to the 3-camera setup on the S25. Both of these take great pictures and videos with their camera systems, but you have those 2 extra cameras on the S25. You have the telephoto and the ultra wide. So you have a huge advantage. You have a lot more options and possibilities with the S25 camera system. So the 16e, having a single camera in the back makes it look outdated, makes it feel like it's limited, but it does take great pictures and videos. As opposed to the S25, it just looks like it has more possibilities on the back, more modern with more cameras. The 16e can shoot up to 4K. On the S25, you can actually shoot up to 8K. with the main cameras. Both of these shoot 4K with the selfie camera. Bluetooth 5.3 on the iPhone, 5.4 Bluetooth on the S25, and both of these have USB Type-C, so the same charging cable, it could be used on both of these devices. Now to unlock your device, both of these have great ways of unlocking your device, but you get Face ID on the 16E, you get under the display fingerprint reader on the S25. Both are fast ways to unlock your device. You also get Samsung DeX, which is the desktop experience on the S25 as well. Now, when we come to the battery life, both of them offer all-day battery life, but I give the edge to the 16E. It has 26 hours of video playback, the most of any iPhone in the 6.1-inch display range. The S25 has a smaller physical battery, but it should get you through the whole day, a 4,000 milliamp battery. Both of these charge 50% in 30 minutes. We have more charging options on the S25 though. We have wired charging, you have 15-watt wireless Qi 2 charging, and 4.5 reverse wireless. The 16E also lacks MagSafe, so you're not going to get that MagSafe charging with the accessories. So if you were to compare these phones on the outside, the S25 kills it with the camera system. The display technology is better. The 16E is using an older notch and a single camera on the back, which is a throwback to the iPhone XR, for example. They both charge the same at the bottom with that USB-C port. But other than that, the internals are equally as powerful on both of these devices. But there are just things that are just extra on the S25. You have the extra cameras, the extra charging options, the extra screen, because you don't have a notch, and you have just a lot more options that are very helpful in the S25. And also, you break down the price, the 16E $600 unlocked. The S25, you could find it in mint condition for $500. So the price are very comparable between these. But if you could find that 16E for $300 on prepaid, that's a good deal as well. But if you are looking to get into just regular apps, both of these handle texting, social media, gaming, browsing, YouTube, Netflix, handling maps, ordering Uber, driving for Uber, listening to music. Do all those things that will work exactly the same very well on both of these devices. The ecosystem is obviously going to be different, but on a physical spec standpoint, the S25 offers just so much more. But the 16E, its strongest suits are the battery life and the same internals as the more expensive $800 16 and $1,000 16 Pro. So there you have it. I give the edge to the S25 if you're not into the ecosystem and you're okay with just regular app usage.